Hi traders, this is Blake Morrow. You were listening to the Morning Edge webinar. It's really it's going to be difficult today doing all of our analysis and getting it all in on time, what we normally do. It's obviously been a very crazy, crazy day, and I have to, I'll be the first one to admit, I got really lucky getting out of my yen pairs when I did. So I want to clue you in on what I was looking at. All right, so when I was looking at the dollar yen, we're obviously in this head and shoulder pattern. So one thing's for certain, I am selling the dollar yen on any move back to 115. Okay, so that's number one. All right, I think that's pretty clear, and I don't have to sit here and explain to you guys the reason why I'm going to be selling the dollar yen at 115, why I'm going to do that. Okay, I'm going to do that because the 115 level is right here. That is previous support, should be current resistance on the way up. So I mean, that should be, in my opinion, a very easy to manage trade. Doesn't mean you're going to make money, okay, by any stretch of the means. You just because this looks like a great area to short the dollar yen doesn't mean it won't go to 115 and then to 125 immediately after. But you can manage your risk really good from there. So if we get a bounce, like let's say we do, and I'm assuming we will, but let's just say we do. Okay, if we get a bounce back up to like 115 and change, that's where I'm going to be looking for shorts. I'm going to stay away from the yen for a while. So what I was looking at today is earlier this morning, and I was telling the guys and gals in our chat room, I'm like, okay, this is a 618 retracement down here at this 110.50, 110.40. I'm like, so if we get down there, that's where I'm going to cover. And then once we started getting down here, what stood out to me was the stock market hit new lows and the yen okay. So when the dollar yen was falling, it wasn't the bonds that did it for me. It was really the stock market was dropping. Okay, the stock market was dropping. The dollar yen stopped dropping. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I think I'm going to get out. And then when Paul pulled over the bond trades, I'm like, you know what? This is it. I need to get out of everything. And it was really just more luck. I have to, and I admit that. I'll tell you, if Paul Franco moments ago didn't show me that bond chart, to me it would have cost me several $1,000s. But he showed me the bond chart in time, and I exited. And I mean, you guys saw it. It was within 30 seconds, maybe a minute after I just closed out everything, and then all of a sudden there was some intervention. So I consider myself very lucky. So thank you, Paul Franco. I know he's listening in, or he's probably listening in, or he might be listening in. But anyway, Paul's spot on. Was great analysis this morning. Now I got, yeah, Jeff says you owe Paul a beer and a steak. Laugh out loud. I probably do. I owe him probably nice, nice Ruth Chris steak, I think. Now the other thing that I did a couple of, I've been busy like locking in profits today. I exited my euro pound long, so I wanted to take profits in that. And how many of you guys have been playing the euro pound on the long side here? You bought it again when it dipped to 77 or 77.50. I exited this morning. Okay, I exited this morning at 78 and change. So Abraham was, Jurian was, Ron G was, Roy was, Scott was, Karad's long at 77 pence. I actually bought it yesterday on the edge, I think, at 77.50 something, and then I just sold it this morning. So I just got out of that. I exited that one. I'm still long, or I'm still short the US dollar Canadian. I'm still short the euro Canadian. I'm underwater a little bit in those. Well, not the Well, yeah, I guess dollar Canadian, I'm actually flat right now. Um, at this price. I exited every yen pair. Like I said, very lucky getting out the prices that I got out of. Um, but it's extremely messy right now. God, cable's still hitting new lows. What a piece of garbage. You got to be kidding me, man. This cable's down 140. This has got to be due for a bounce pretty soon. Hold on. Let me take a real quick look. I know we need to do our analysis anyway, and I'll start that here in just a second. Yeah, we're about 15, 20 pips off of this major support here. Cable scares me. I'm a little nervous about the cable. I don't understand why it's so freaking weak. I mean, I understand, I get it, but man, that's just really a hunk of junk. Yeah, I almost said it. Okay, what we have to do this morning is we've got to go through our analysis, obviously, and you know, we do have weekly unemployment claims. We got some Canadian National House Price Index numbers that are coming out, but some just really big moves that I think we need to pay attention to. So first of all, we got the bond market. You got the 10-year, okay, that rejected big time. I mean, look at that big time rejection. If you guys are trading bonds, this 10-year is probably a great fade here. This is a 161% extension. Yields should start rising from here. And just so you guys know, pound Swiss. Nigel says pound Swiss might be worth looking at. Yeah, perhaps. Let's take a look at the pound Swiss. I bought the dollar Swiss this morning. Pound Swiss, 161% extension. This is probably not a bad trade. 161%. You know what? I'm with you because I've already been buying Euro Swiss. I'm going to buy some pound Swiss here. Thank you very much. I own it. Own it. Let me make sure. Give me a second, guys. I don't mind buying these Swiss pairs, especially if yields are going up. You know what I mean? So if yields are going to go up, to me, it is worth the opportunity to take a position down here, especially you know, at these prices. I'll probably take a look at all these Swiss pairs. Won't be a bad idea to do that. Let's see. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just. Yeah. So, like I said, these. If you think that you think yields are gonna, sorry, where's my here? I needed this chart. So if you think that yields are gonna bounce, you know what I mean? Then if that's the case, then the dollar index should recover a little bit. You probably will see a bounce here. You might see a little hammer on the you might see a hammer on the dollar today. But I think that with bonds rallying, and if bonds selling off, excuse me, and yields rallying, then you might get that bounce back. You're definitely going to get the bounce back in the yen pairs, but there's a lot of intervention there. So instead of dealing with the intervention, you know, you've got this 161% extension here. You think yields are going up. Play the yield-sensitive currencies like the dollar, you know, Swiss. I think is a good opportunity to be on the long side. I did buy the Euro Swiss yesterday at 109.65. I just bought the pound Swiss just now. I'm down 14 pips. I don't care. I just you know, and I bought the dollar Swiss this morning, and I'm only up 24 pips. I bought it at 97.05. So it's not like I'm like, you know, knocking down doors, by, you know, just, you know, making bank here in the dollar Swiss. I do think that you see this buying coming in. I think it's going to be a really nice long side trade. And if you guys don't understand why I think the dollar Swiss is a good long side trade from here, let me go ahead and get you that chart. And then I'm going to start our morning analysis this morning. So as soon as I'm done with this. So here is the daily chart. Okay, so all right, this move right here, I've been looking at buying the dollar Swiss for a lot of reasons, and this is one of them. So if you want to know why, $16 Swiss. Okay, hold on. If you think rates are set to move higher, the US dollar Swiss long near the 97 is probably not a bad idea. Okay. And so this is a this is a pair that I personally believe is a good place to be, on the long side. And again, I don't mind being long down here. I would even add another 100 pips lower. Any retest of this trend line down here at 96 cents is fine by me. So I don't mind establishing a position, all right, in the dollar Swiss at these prices. All right, so anyway, let's start our morning analysis, because we've got to get it done somehow in 45 minutes before the weekly unemployment claim. So if you guys are commenting, asking questions, I'm not purposely ignoring you today, but obviously there's a lot of stuff going on, so I'm not going to be able to address every question out there. It's impossible today, and I usually try to answer everybody's question every day, but today is going to be a little tougher than normal. Okay, so here's the euro. So why do you need to be careful of the euro longs here? Let me delete this. Okay, let me delete that. Let me delete this. Let's delete this for a second. Okay. Now, first and foremost, do you guys see a Gartley pattern? Do you guys see the Gartley pattern? I mean, I do. I don't know about you guys, but do you see it? We're gonna double check that our work here, but and that's a Gartley pattern, right? Am I smoking crack? Right? It should be. This should be 161% extension or close to. Okay, we a little overshoot. This should be about a 78%. So we have we just overshot it a bit. Then we have this underside of this trend line testing. So today, where we're at right now is probably it for the euro dollar. Now, I'm not saying that the euro can't go beyond 114 in the coming days, but I think for today, we're probably done here. And so the highs today are very important. So 113.55, 113.55. If you want to short the euro dollar, and this is just a suggestion, I'm not doing it, and you can do whatever you want. I'm not here to tell you guys what to do. I'm here to give you guys ideas of things that you can, ideas of potential trade, actionable trade ideas. But if you wanted to short the euro dollar here, I'd probably just keep my stops maybe above like 113.80, maybe above that 88% retracement. You probably don't even need to go that far, but just in case things get a little unruly. But your risk versus reward here is pretty good, because if you think about it, a drop down to like back to this congestion area at 111.50, do you think this is really impossible, for a move back down here? No. And if you're right here and your risk is right there, well, you're risking one to make two or three. You know what I mean? Risking $1 to make $2 or $3. Like I said, I'm not going to short the euro dollar today. It's not. I'm in one of those positions right now. At this point in time, I'm probably going to just kind of sit on the sidelines, and I'll be long the dollar Swiss. But as far as the euro dollar, when you've had a decent run in the markets, it's usually a good time to stand aside and catch your breath, because then you end up making some stupid decisions. At least that's what I've always found to be the case. So anyway, let's talk about where support is. So support for the euro dollar today, like if I wanted to be confident that the euro dollar was turning, like it was turning lower, like if I was short and said, okay, I'm not I'm not leaving today, and I'm not gonna leave if I'm short the euro, and I'm not leaving my computer. I'm probably not gonna leave my computer until you get back below this 112.30. This should be support here. I mean, if you look at this, okay, you know, you look at this, see how we can't hold below this trend line? So this is going to be really critical. You know, we close below like this 112.40, and it's probably going to get pretty bearish. I mean, you know, I would assume, right? So 112.40 should offer support somewhere in this neighborhood. Okay. We've been in a bullish bias. Okay, but I would be very careful being on the long side today. Just my opinion. All right. Let's go over to the pound. All right, so here's the pound. Like I said, the cables, for some reason, it's just the biggest piece of garbage on the face of the planet. But we are, as you guys know, we are approaching this support. You know, we talked a lot about this the other day when we were here, right? Like, okay, you know, this is yesterday. We were thinking, okay, well, there's going to be support down here. There's going to be resistance up here. Trading the ranges is smart. And once we break out of the range, you know, then that's going to give us some very clear direction. But here we are approaching that range again, and range low. Now, is this a good place to go long? You know, I don't know. Here's the thing. If you think the euro dollar is going to pull back and you think the pound might bounce, what's a great trade? Short the euro pound, right? I mean, you know, if you don't want to deal with it like a dollar trade, you know, just short the euro pound. Look, I got out of my long. You know, so hey, there you go. You know, but that's another option too. Instead of trying to trade, you know, the cable itself or the you know, the euro. Okay, so anyway, so here we are. The support here for the cable is going to be at 143.50, and you guys know that's pretty major support. 143.50, it's major support. Okay. Resistance. Probably about 146, I would assume, but I mean, that's 200 pips away from here. It's like, it's kind of hard to think of that as intraday resistance, because I don't know where this low is, so I can't start drawing fibs. I don't want to do this. You know what I mean? I don't want to do it because I don't know if that's a low. It's going to be really hard to gauge resistance here. You know, I'm going to have to go, since this is an hourly chart. What we're going to have to do is we're going to have to do this, you know, 44.70. Okay. Okay, and that's going to be probably some resistance on the way back. Let's take a look at the Swissy. So as you guys know, I'm long some Swissy, and I'm only up like 12 pips right now. Okay, so let's take a look at the dollar Swiss. Now the dollar Swiss, as I pointed out, we've got really big support down here. One of the things that is, you know, people are really worried about with the Swissy. First of all, this flag pattern didn't play out. Okay. One of the things that people worry about with the Swissy, and I do too, is that stocks are like relentlessly moving lower. That's obviously a bit of a problem. The good news is we hit the 127% extension. So that low right there should be significant today. So at 96.56, so 96, this is 96.60. 96.60 is the really key support, 0.9660. If you can get an opportunity to buy it down there, that's probably the best place to be on the long side if you can get it, but I don't know if we're going to be able to get a move down there anymore. So here is resistance today. So you can see how important today's highs are. That was a spike high. It looked almost like intervention too when the BOJ intervened, but I don't think it had anything to do with the BOJ. That just caused a massive, that is a massive short squeeze that just came following the BOJ is I think what that was, okay, right there. All right, so now a move above 97.60 would be extremely bullish near term. Now I think longer term, 98.60, it's 98.60. You know, longer term we are in a range, okay, as you guys know. I think this is more of a just a bigger range environment, okay. Range. This line didn't transfer over correctly. It looks like this. There. Okay. You know, I think we're in a bigger range, but intraday, if we get a spike above the this trend line, or we start trading above this trend line, it's going to start a pretty massive squeeze. Obviously, that's what I'm hoping for, being on the long side of that. All right, let's go over to the dollar yen. I'm just going to do the dollar yen. I'm going to put you guys back on hold. We got half an hour to do all this stuff. It's just crazy. I'm not going to be able to get through this. So the dollar yen, like I said, my hands are off now. I'm done with it. Now, when would I consider being back in the dollar yen? Maybe not 115 right here, 114. So any move back up to 114, I would be strongly considering the short side. 114.12, 20, excuse me, 25, because that's what the support was, 114.25. That right there would be it. You guys can trade the dollar yen all you want now, all you want, okay? But for me, that's the only way I'm going to get back into this trade, is getting a move up to 114.25 at this point. And I doubt that's going to happen today. But, you know, I could be wrong. I mean, you know, stocks could spike up aggressively, and, you know, next thing you know, you get a squeeze, and you never know. I mean, okay, so today, pretty easy. 113 is resistance. That's an intervention spike high. I'm 90% sure that was intervention today. Or a you know, BlackRock blowing up, which is doubtful. It was probably just intervention. 111, 113, those are your ranges. You want to buy the dollar yen? Buy it down at 111. You want to get short the dollar yen? Short it at 113. I'm going to wait for 114. But those are the ranges you're dealing with now, and, you know, deal with it. It's, you know, I'd like to say, oh, you know, you can get a better price down here, but overpriced. But really, it's now you're kind of, if you're not trading it, or if you hadn't been trading it, you have to deal with this really wide range that's going to be messy. So when you have a range like that, the best way to trade these, the best way to tackle these, you trade the fringes of them, because it offers you the best risk reward opportunity. So if you get a, you know, move up here and you're like, okay, I'm going to take a short, you can get short, and then, you know, if you get stopped out, you get stopped out cheap. Same thing down here. You know, you get long, and you know, put your stop down here 30 pips below, and if you get stopped out, you get stopped out cheap, and you take a shot at it. You know, I don't think, for me, it's worth trading it while you're in the middle of this range now. It's just not, it's not, oops, hold on. Let me fix this. I don't think it's worth dealing with at the moment. All right, guys, I'm going to put you on hold for just a few minutes. I need to go grab some more coffee. Don't go anywhere. I'll be back. Thanks. All right, guys and gals, this is Blake Morrow. You are listening to the Morning Edge webinar, and you know what? The dollar yen is not in a range. The dollar yen is actually in a bearish trend. That's my fault. We've had it on bearish trend for a while. I don't know what I was thinking there. All right, so we're in a bearish trend. We're probably in a near-term range in a bearish trend. By the way, the euro dollar has spiked up to 13.60. We are actually at new highs. God, this euro dollar. It's very tempting to short right now. I have to admit, it's very, very tempting to be on the short side of this. I mean, yeah, very, very tempting. Very tempting. I've like so tempting that I'm going to short it. I'm short half size at 63 right now, so I'm I'm gonna sit in it for a bit. Okay. Anyway, all right. Let's go back over to, let's see, dollar Swiss, dollar yen, dollar Canadian. Let's do this really quick. So the dollar Canadian, we got really close to 140. Actually, I think we hit 140 and change today. We talked about this yesterday. Okay, so yesterday we said, okay, a move from, move up to 140. Okay, and here I'll show you what we drew on the hourlies. Okay, yesterday we said a move up to 140 or maybe 140.50 would be a decent short. We are we have obviously rallied to 140 and we're rejecting here. I think this is going to be a big resistance. And you have to watch crude. I mean, if crude can bounce, crude can actually show a bit of a bounce here, which it looks like it's going to. I think as long as we stay below this 140 and 140.12, 140.15, it's probably some good resistance to short against. I am short the dollar Canadian at 139.68. I'm already, already in it. So 140, let's just call it 140.15. Okay, we are now back in a range with the dollar Canadian. We were bullish, we went into a range the last 2 weeks, and now, I think you can just, I think we can still get up to 141, by the way. I don't think you can write off the dollar Canadian. If you write off the dollar Canadian and you say, well, it's done going up for now, that's the same thing as saying crude oil can't go any lower. Look, crude oil is bearish. I mean, we may be showing a little bit of a bounce right now, but I don't know if this is the bottom. I don't. Anyway, for now, okay, support for the Canadian is going to be down here. So we can grab this, right? We can say, well, a dip down to, let me just grab this really quick. A dip down to 139 is probably going to be decent support for today, right? Probably give you a decent bounce right through here, maybe 138, 138.90. Okay, that'll probably give you a decent area to be on the long side if you want to. But we are in a range. All right, let's go over to the Kiwi dollar. Oh, go peso. The peso is dumping. I love it. Okay, so here's the Kiwi. Look at this. Look at this rejection. So yesterday we were doing this, right? Here's our range. We said, hey, a rally up to 67. What did we write down? You guys know the number. What did we write down for? What did we write down for the resistance for the Kiwi yesterday? 67.25, 67.30. You guys know the numbers. 67.30, Ron G said. Okay, so we spiked to 67.33. I was off by 3 pips yesterday. We drew that out, so great. And I didn't trade it, by the way, just so you all know. Okay, so today, similar game, right? This is a nice consolidation, guys. This is going to break out at some point. So now, same thing. Resistance, 67.25. Support, 65.70. 65.70. 67.27. 67.25. And this is a range, right? Damn you, Blake Morrow, for being off by 3 pips on a free webinar. Son of a gun. All right, let's go over to the Aussie. Here's the Aussie. We've been talking about a big range-bound environment in the Aussie. Yesterday we talked about support being down here at 70 cents. We wrote down 70 cents, even though we marked 69.85. Remember? Because this is a 618. Remember we drew all that? Well, we dropped. It's 69.85. Bounced like a bat out of hell. So 69.85 resistance. All right, resistance isn't all the way till up here, but intraday, this is obviously capping us, so we can write this down. 71.50, 69.85, 0.6985, and I have no interest in the Aussie or the Kiwi right now, just so you know. 0.7150. None. Like zero, zilch, zippo. Okay. Let's go over to the dollar index. Here's the Dixie. Oops. All right. So here's the dollar index. Obviously, it's under a little bit of pressure right now. The euro might. Did anybody short the euro with me in the 113.60s? Anybody short that? Okay. Looks like a few of you guys did. Okay. I short at 113.63. So I don't know if this here. Let's delete this for a second. I want to show you guys something. So if I'm not mistaken, we got a descending wedge here, and I need to really fix this stuff. Hold on. I don't like this dotted line anymore. Okay, let's do this one too. Okay, so we might be in a bit of a descending wedge in the dollar index, so just be careful here. This is on an hourly, right? 161% extension in the dollar index, same thing in the euro, right? So we should be pretty well supported down here. I don't know how much further we're going to go for today. You know, not saying like forever, but I'm just saying today. 95, let's just, we can even give it down to like 95.30. Just, you know, because it's a descending trend line, so it might actually grind out a new low. What did I say, 95.30? 95.30. Resistance, I mean, I don't know if I want to write all the way up here, but do you guys get what I'm doing here? So resistance obviously is going to be this hourly spike high, which comes in at 95.80 right now. Because if we can break this 95.80, then that should take us to the upper end. Oops. That should take us to the upper end of this ascending wedge, right? Because if we can, oops, if we can break that, then we should come up here, 95.80. We are in a bearish breakdown in the dollar index. I hate to say it, and I'm long the dollar right now. But just because I'm long the dollar doesn't mean I'm going to stay long the dollar. I mean, I shorted a little euro, I bought a little Swiss, you know. I did short the dollar Mexican peso, so hey, you know, that stands for something, right? All right, speaking of the peso, let's take a look at it. So I shorted the dollar Mexican peso. My cost average is 19.4642. This is my cost average in the peso. Now, 1914 and change, whatever it is. This peso is a little out of control, as you guys know. We have this upsloping trend line. We keep reaching into new highs. See, we overshot. I mean, it's crazy. We went past 261% extensions on monthly and weekly basis charts. I mean, it's crazy. This is crazy, you know. It's a little overdone. It's a little overdone. I think the dollar Mexican peso comes right back down to like 1850 today. But that's my opinion, being on the short side. All right. We could extend out to 1926. That's 161% extension of this last move. So I'm going to write down 1926. I am prepared to sell more peso up there, personally. But that's how I'm trading it. 1926. Okay. It is in a bullish trend. I am trading counter trend, by the way. Support. See, I thought 19 was going to just cap us, but obviously with a little bit of risk aversion, we flew right past that. So support's going to be at 1880 on the way back down. Okay, let's go take a look at the Norwegian krona. We're still capped. We're still in this really tight range here. Okay, 1860 to 1845. It's what we wrote down yesterday, right? We went to 1860 last night. So 1860, 1845. This thing's going to break out soon. I don't know when, I don't know where, but 1845, 1860. The Riksbank, if you guys didn't catch it, they actually raised, or they lowered, they imposed higher negative deposit rates, so they went to negative 0.5%. The Riksbank did, and the scary thing is it didn't even help. You could see this. So if the dollar does strengthen today, like let's just say the euro dollar rolls over, the dollar Swiss goes down, whatever. If it does, we would see probably the U.S. dollar Swedish krona rally from here. We're at a 618 retracement. We've got some support. I don't know if it's the right trade right now, but you know, if you guys are really bullish the dollar, maybe playing it on the long side here. It's a really messy chart. All right, guys. Hey, listen, I have something personal I have to do, so I'm going to put you on hold for a few minutes. When I come back, we will have the weekly unemployment claims, so don't go anywhere. I'll be back in about 10 minutes. Thank you.